If you had $100,000 cash value, you could take a loan against that. You'll use that to buy 2 Bitcoin in this example. Meanwhile, you still have that cash in your policy, the full $100,000 earning 4 or 5% on it. And now you acquire 2 Bitcoin at 40,000. Hey guys, it's Chris here with the Hidden Reserve, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over never lose your crypto profits again, how to store, grow, and multiply your gains. So many of you are probably invested in crypto as of right now, and it's so important that when you see profits in crypto that you don't get greedy and you take some of those profits out and secure it somewhere that's bulletproof, that's safe, that's guaranteed to grow your gains forever. And that's what we're going to dive in this presentation today. So first up, you took the profits, now what? Most crypto investors, they take profits, they pay their taxes, then they stall out. They don't know what to do with the profits. Most people keep it in their bank account. Maybe they'll keep it on Coinbase or whatever exchange they're using in fiat, or maybe even in a stable coin. But with all of that being said, there's still risk to doing that. Your money's gonna get eroded by inflation. The rate at which, if you're in a stable coin, the return on the stable coin, that can fluctuate. There's no guarantee there. So that's just, those are all variables that, you know, factor into your cash getting eroded or eaten away. And next up here, we got profits sit in cash or bank accounts doing next to nothing, like I touched on. You know, unless you're in a high yield savings, you know, you might be earning 4%, 5% possibly, but then you got to factor in taxes on those gains. The interest that you earn inside of your bank account, you're going to get a 1099 at the end of the year, regardless if you touch that money or not. You're going to have to pay taxes on the interest, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You just have to factor that in when you're calculating what's your actual return on the money in your bank account. If you think you're getting 4% on your money, it's really after taxes going to be less. So important to just be real with yourself when it comes to that. The emotional high is over, and now you're back in decision fatigue again. You ride the wave of crypto, you see gains, you even execute and pull some gains out, pull some profits out, which most people don't even get to that point. But then it's like, okay, I rode that high, now what? Now what do I do with my money? Where can I reposition it? And without a system, those gains slowly erode to inflation. So again, if you don't have a system in place to know what to do with your profits, and you're just keeping it in your bank account or even keeping it in fiat on whatever exchange you're using, then you're just that money's gonna get eaten up eventually by inflation. And then lastly, for this slide, I have in quotes, what if you could store your after-tax profits in a vault that grows, protects, and gives you liquid access to fund your next opportunity without starting over? And I'm going to dive into that more, but that's super important, is putting your profits or a percentage of your profits in an environment that's going to grow your money guaranteed. It's going to protect it. It can't lose any money. You're protected from lawsuits, judgments, creditors, and then ultimately you have liquid access to that money. So if there's another opportunity that pops up with crypto, for example, then you can access the funds in there, no problem, and use that capital to then go reinvest. And I'll touch on that more later in the presentation. So next slide, we're going to be talking about missing the buy window. So you don't have, with crypto, things are so volatile as of making this video, you don't have a large window of time to really execute. So if you have your crypto on a cold wallet, or the bulk of it on a cold wallet, that's going to take time. I mean, it's going to take time for you to transfer that. And if you're not home, for example, you don't have your Ledger, Trezor, whatever cold wallet you use with you, and you need to sell and take profit, how are you going to do that? If you're out on the road and your cold wallet's in your safe at home, good luck. You're not going to be able to do it. So that's super important just to be aware of, is the time it takes to actually transfer your crypto from your cold wallet to an exchange and then cashing it out, and then, you know, ultimately sending that profit, that cash back to your bank account. By the time it hits there, I mean, the market could change drastically. You missed the prime entry points while waiting on liquidity. Again, if you're banking on that selling of crypto to get that profit and then using that to reinvest, I mean, that's going to take a lot of time if you have it locked up in these wallets. Even on the exchange, depending, it might take some time to execute that. So that's important to be aware of. And then last point here is we're going to be talking about the IBC shift, or the infinite banking concept shift, when it comes to accessing capital and using that to reinvest. So with IBC, your capital is always liquid and ready. You can borrow against your policy and capitalize on market dips. So with an infinite banking policy, which I have other videos talking about this more in depth, your money's always going to be accessible to you no matter what. So if you have $100,000, let's say, in your cash value, and crypto tanks, Bitcoin drops down to 40,000 a coin, let's say. It's at, like, I don't even know what's at of recording this today, like 120 around there. Let's say it drops down to 40,000 and you want to purchase 2 Bitcoin. Well, what you could do, hypothetically, if you had $100,000 cash value, you could take a loan against that for $80,000. Your full $100,000 is still going to be earning interest and dividends inside of your policy. Meanwhile, you have a loan now from the insurance carrier for $80,000. There's going to be loan interest on that loan, maybe around, depending on the carrier, 5-6%, somewhere around there. So now you have an $80,000 loan at that 5 to 6% interest. You'll use that to buy 2 Bitcoin in this example. Meanwhile, you still have that cash in your policy, the full $100,000 earning 4 or 5% on it. And now you acquire 2 Bitcoin at 40,000. And hypothetically, let's say that was a really good decision, and 6 months later that Bitcoin went up to 100,000. Well, now you just made a hefty return on your investment there, and you could, there's many ways to go about this, but you could shave off or sell off a percentage of the gains that you obtain from the Bitcoin to pay off the loan to your policy. And now you've acquired 2 Bitcoin with no money out of pocket from you, because you used the insurance carrier's money. And meanwhile, all of your capital that was inside of your policy grew even more. So now you have more capital available to you to borrow against for the next opportunity that pops up. And that's just to give you an idea of how this strategy is so powerful. And on top of that, your crypto profits are in an environment that cannot lose. You can't lose money in a whole life policy. So that's very important. Next up, you don't need to sell to reinvest. So this is what I was touching on, but we're going to go a little bit deeper. So borrow against your safe profits. So the traditional strategy is you take your crypto profits, you turn that into cash on the sidelines, and then you wait to reinvest. You have either the cash in a bank account or it is sitting inside of your crypto exchange, liquid, ready to buy the next dip or whatever it is. But the new strategy, the IBC strategy, is you take your crypto profits after tax and you put that into a high cash value whole life insurance policy, which is the setup you need for the infinite banking concept. That's the chassis, if you will, or the vehicle that we use to execute the infinite banking concept is a whole life insurance policy. Technically, you could do it with other vehicles, but whole life insurance is the most effective way to execute that. And then you borrow against your policy to reinvest. So you're not using the profits directly to reinvest. What you're changing is where the money goes first. So instead of sending it right to your bank account and keeping it there, you send the profits to your bank account, then move those profits or a percentage into a policy. And then when the next opportunity comes up, you borrow against that cash value to reinvest. So that's the biggest distinction there, the biggest difference. And capital, next up, capital continues growing and your death benefit protects your family. Again, the money in your policy is always going to be working for you and growing, and you have a death benefit too, because it's life insurance to protect your family. So when you pass away, a death benefit is going to be passed on to your family, income tax free. And then lastly here, now you can buy dips, you can fund other assets, deploy that money into real estate, all while earning on the same dollar twice. So when you get crypto profits and you put it into your policy, those profits are, with a whole life policy, those profits are guaranteed to grow for you for the rest of the policy, the rest of your life essentially, if you keep it in force. And on top of that, you can take loans against your policy, use the insurance carrier's money to reinvest. Hopefully you make a good investment where you're earning more with the investment than what you borrowed, obviously. And then now you're making money in two spots. You're making money internally with the policy, and then you're making money externally with the investment that you picked. So that's how the concept works. Next up, profits without a plan fades fast. So crypto gave you the growth, but without structure, it can all vanish. So a lot of you have probably seen your portfolios go up. You didn't take profits, or maybe you did, and you didn't know what to do with the profits, and then you watch it go straight down. And that's why it's so important to have this game plan ahead of time of, okay, I profit from crypto. What the heck do I do with my profits? Okay. Next, here we got most investors risk giving it back through spending, speculation, or poor planning. So what I mean by that there, by giving it back, is most people, they don't have a plan with their profits. So they'll go out and buy a fancy car, they'll buy a new house, a watch, take the vacation, whatever, when they could have instead protected those profits and put it into a vehicle that's guaranteed to grow those profits forever without loss. And that's whole life insurance. And that's why it's so powerful, because you already took a ton of risk in crypto to get those gains. Why would you not take a percentage of those gains and at least lock it up somewhere where you know it's gonna grow for the rest of your life? Not income tax free, tax deferred, and then you can access the money tax free via a policy loan. So that's really, really important to just wrap your brain around, is that you're going from something very high risk to something that's bottom of the barrel in terms of risk, and you know and have that peace of mind now that that money is going to be there and grow for you for the rest of the policy or the rest of your life, essentially. Exchanges crash, wallets get lost, seed phrases get lost. Those are all a bunch of variables and risks associated with crypto. And then lastly, lock in your gains. So that's putting a percentage into a policy. Protect your family, so that's the death benefit component of the policy, and create a pool of capital guaranteed to grow without market risk. So once the policies enter that environment, you no longer have to worry about that money losing any money. It's going to continue to grow and appreciate over time for the rest of your life. Next up here, what if the market doesn't come back? So that's one of the things. If you're in crypto, you might see your portfolio go up and then all of a sudden it crashes and you're just sitting there like, oh man, I wish I would have taken profits. I wish I would have taken more profits. When the heck is the market going to come back? Hopefully it'll come back sometime soon. No one wants to sell at the top until it's too late. Again, lots of us get, greed is a part of human beings. We all have it to some degree, some worse than others. And it's so important that you don't just sit there and wait and wait and wait for the top. And then all of a sudden you wake up the next day or the next hour, the next minute, and you watch your profits diminish. So it's important to have a plan in place and have that discipline to take some profits out when you see them. That way you don't have to have that, that regret essentially of seeing all these gains and watching them disappear. Now, side note, if you're in crypto and you don't need the money and you're a long-term investor, then none of this is really gonna apply. This is more for the people who want to take profits, need to take profits, especially if you're over leveraging yourself, which hopefully you're not, but I've talked to a lot of people who are heavily over leveraged in crypto. So if that's you should have a plan to take profits out. Anyway, next point, market cycles can last years or never return to peak. Again, if you see those profits, take them while you can. At least take some out, get your initial investment out. That way, if things plummet, then at least okay, got my money back and I can be patient and wait for the next market uptrend, the next bull run, etc. And then lastly, locking in gains while they're available is a smart move. Again, this all ties in together. You don't know, none of us know when the market's going to come back. And especially with crypto, it can come and go so quickly, especially depending on the coin that you're invested in. It's important to take advantage of that while you can. Final thought with all of this, and I have in quotes here, you took the risk, you earned the gain, now it's time to protect it and multiply it with strategy. So the way I like to look at crypto is probably at the top in terms of risk profile or in terms of risky investments. I don't really know what else would go up there. I mean, pre-IPOs up there. Starting your own business is pretty risky, so you could put that up there. But crypto is one of the riskiest investments that you can be involved with. And if you see profits and you have the discipline to take those profits, now it's a game of how can I at least secure a portion of those profits in something that's guaranteed to not lose money, and that's whole life insurance. That's really important. And then lastly here, whole life insurance isn't hype. Crypto is hype. I mean, at least at this point in time, crypto's hype. It's the flashy thing. People get involved with it because they see these high return potentials. That's me included. But I also don't want to have all of my money in crypto. I want to have the polar opposite of it, which is something like whole life insurance. It's boring. It doesn't produce this crazy high return, but you at least know your money is safe and protected on a contractual guaranteed basis. So your money is going to grow in there for the life of the contract, and you have the peace of mind knowing, like, I had money in crypto, I took a percentage out, and now it's in an environment that's safe. So I successfully completed like that circle, if you will. Because a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people who have missed gains on crypto, or they just completely lost it all because they were undisciplined and sold at the bottom because of the volatility and didn't have a plan at all. So if that's you know, it's time to get a plan in place, because who knows how long this is going to last, especially the opportunity to make a lot of money potentially with crypto without needing to invest a ton of money. You know, my opinion, and this isn't on the slide or anything, it just came to mind, is I believe we're in like the last short window of time, whether it's the next year, 2 years, 3 years, of where the average person can invest a little bit of money and potentially make a lot of money with crypto. I don't think that window of time is going to be much longer, and I see the cryptocurrency turning more into the stock market over time once regulations crack down more and it's more matured overall, it's more adopted. I see it being more like the stock market, where getting a 6-8% return is considered good. But right now with crypto, if you're in crypto, that's nothing. I mean, a 6%, 8% return is nothing. You might get 20% return on your portfolio in a day. That's not uncommon. But also on the flip side, you might wake up and your portfolio is down 20% in a day or more. So there's that give and take there. But that's my thought on crypto. I think it's going to mature. Once it matures, it's going to be more like the stock market. So you got to take advantage of it now if you are invested in it. I'm not saying, just jump into crypto. But if you are an investor, this whole thing we talked about today is something really important to be aware of. And of course, I'm not trying to be completely biased towards insurance. That's why I've been saying take a percentage, and put it into insurance potentially. Not investment advice. Insurance is an investment. But there's also other ways to secure your profits as well. And then lastly, I put there that whole life is the quiet foundation that's been used for over 100 years. Again, it's not flashy. It's been around forever. It's been around a really long time. It's just that sleep well at night thing that it's going to do it's going to do what it says it's going to do. It's going to earn its 3, 4, 5%, and it's going to do that year in and year out, and there's no surprises there. So I hope this video, you found some value from it. And really the next step is, if you want to book a discovery call to put a plan in place to protect your profits, you can do that by clicking the link below, or you can email me. And then lastly, on the call, we'll really just look at a custom policy structure for you to see what makes sense potentially, and then we'll take it from there. So again, I hope you found some value from the video today. Like, share, comment if you did find value, and I'll see you guys in the next one.